it's funny. We talk about drawing, and it's something that has nothing to do with anything else. Like it's its own thing, right? And to me, honestly, drawing is a lot like a sport. It's we think of it as, I don't know. It has, I think, nerds and sensitive people are artists often. Uh, Artists are nerds and sensitive people rather. But it's really a very, very much physical skill. We're really using muscle and muscle memory when we draw. Um, and to me, actually, I think it's quite helpful to think about drawing as something that you are training your body to do. If you treat it as too much of an intellectual pursuit, I think it can be defeating. But if you just, if it's like, I'm just gonna, if you lift weights until it's easy to lift weights, right? And then you keep lifting, and then you lift heavier weights. I think it's the same way with like drawing circles. Like you're not gonna draw it perfectly the first time, but you're just like giving your hand muscles the experience, and slowly, it's almost like your body learns more than your brain or your conscious self. How's this Hulk looking? He's looking all right. He's looking all right, guys. We're just training. It is training your brain, but I think it's much more, even mentally. I think we're doing much more of a subconscious training than anything else. It helps to have conscious structure and to do things uh, on purpose. That's very important, but ultimately you can think of it as like it's a mechanical thing you're learning how to do. It's something you're training your body to be able to do. Boy, he just kind of looks like a person right now, huh? I mean, a big angry person. But I mean, what is the Hulk if not just a big angry person who is green, without a shirt on? How would we know it was the Hulk if he was a different color? All these depictions, I just looked up a bunch of reference images. He's drawn differently in every single one. I like the. I think I read that the Hulk is, well, it's like a lot of Stan Lee generated characters are kind of based on the Jekyll and Hyde thing, right? So he's sort of Jekyll and Hyde, but he's also he looks. The early depictions of Hulk, especially Blue, stop it! My dog is eating flies behind me. The early depictions of the Hulk are very Frankenstein-y. Like he's got a very big forehead, and a lot of that. I think it's pretty clear Stan Lee was inspired by those classic early sci-fi and horror tales. Okay, let's see. Do I really want to color in all of the Hulk's hair? No, I don't really want to color in all the Hulk's hair because I want to get to teaching you class. Um, Teaching you class. Leading class? Teaching class. I mostly want to get to class. So here's the deal. This is class 3 of Cartoon Ray's Summer Cartoon Academy. And you are here, and I love that you're here, and I appreciate it, so thank you. If you don't know, this is a class I'm teaching twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's totally free, and I'm doing it for the love of my followers, and not for their love. I already assume I have their love, but to reward their love, I'm doing this class because I don't think drawing is something that only I can do. I don't think drawing is something that only certain types of people can do. I think that drawing is something that anyone can do. And if you have even a vague interest in drawing, I think you should draw. My basic philosophy is that anyone can, if they take the time, learn to draw and get good at drawing. It's just one of those things that you build up over time. But fortunately, I'm working with this it's like a $2.50 pen. So that's not the cheapest writing tool. But I mean, in terms of hobbies to get going on, drawing's pretty affordable. I'm using printer paper here, and I like this pen. But my favorite pens of all time, the ones I use more than anything else, are these Uniball Visions. These guys, this is how, like, I kind of started using these microns for drawing on TikTok because they're more visible. But these Visions that I use, they're not expensive. You can get a ton of them, and they do these really nice lines that kind of last forever too. I tend to lose these pens. People have been complaining, not people. A person mentioned to me that they bought the pen that I recommended, this Micron Pigma 10, and they found that it ran out of ink really fast. And to me, these guys, these Uniball Micro Visions, I have run them out. Like I've had one or two that I've really run out, but it's usually the pen that kind of gives away before the ink actually runs out, and it's much more likely that I will lose the pen itself. I don't usually draw all this hatching work detail that I'm doing now for TikTok, but this is more like my. If I was just drawing on my own style, it would wind up with a lot more detail like this with a thinner pen. So anyway, you could use this. It's like $1.50 for each of these pens, and you could use a number 2 pencil. You can use a crayon. It really doesn't matter because any drawing that you do is not your last drawing. So use what you have and get started. On that note, anyone here who is here for class and wants to draw, I commend you and I thank you. And feel free to draw along the whole way through and copy anything I'm doing in large part or small part. Anyway, this is the class, and I'm teaching it, and we're now 10 minutes into a half an hour class, so I've been kind of bad. Well, here's the review. I want you, if you're going to be an artist, I want you to realize that you can't be critical and creative at the same time. You have to be both, but you can only be one for the time being. So when you're creating, don't also try to be critical. Just focus on the creation. And I want you to go fast and slow. So when we're working on this stuff, I always go back to that circle thing. There's virtue in seeing how many circles you can do and how quickly you can do them. That's a good thing to do. Really, how quickly can you make circles? And at the same time, how slowly can you make a circle? Take a breath in and then breathe slowly, and that's the duration of your circle, all right? So in, all the way, and out. All right, it's good for your drawing, it's good for your brain. Watch where you're going. A lot of people put too much focus on the tip of the pen. What I would suggest you do is I draw the spot, but create an invisible spot and look at where you're going. That's a great way to practice, is to look at where you're going, stare at that point, and just draw at that point from other places. It's like a basketball in the hoop. If you stare at the basketball, you're not going to make the basket. If you stare at the hoop, you're going to get it over time. Also, emphasize smoothness. If you can, try to see what you can do to create a smooth shape. I see a lot of people drawing, and if they wanted to draw a circle, they would do this thing. And that's fine for learning, where you're like, I'm going to make a circle out of 1,000,000 lines, right? I would prefer that you make this circle that's not quite a circle than this circle where you're like that. This is a fine way to learn, but in this class, I'd like you to give a shot to just like, can you find smoothness in your hand? Even if you have to do it very lightly or very hard, whatever you have to do, I want you to try and experience smooth line making. Not precise line making, not accurate line making, but smooth line making. Last class, we talked about the implication of depth, but I did not call it that. I was saying that if you look at that and you think that is a letter T, you're correct, but it's also a line that is butting into another and then disappearing. So you could say that we are looking at a pin going through fabric there, right? You think about that letter T. That is like the fundamental tool of all drawing to me, of all cartoon drawing anyway. I want you to think about that butting in thing, and experiment with it because okay, so let's say I have, all right, that's a T, and I'm implying that this line is going behind it. But I could also do then something where I imply that there's a line coming out from behind that one, and a line coming out from behind that one, and another line coming out from that one. And now all of a sudden I have this infinite regress thing that I just love. And I could go like that, and go like that, and go like that. And you can make really fun patterns and imply that you have shapes going behind other shapes. So I'm kind of always implying that there's more. That little action of, I have, it could be anything. Let's make it my favorite little kitty cartoon. And that's the same thing as if I draw a line here and I have it coming out the other side. The implication, what my brain says is, okay, now that's behind him. I know it's obvious, but it's a useful thing to verbalize in your head. We talked about the S chain, where I want you to do a smooth kind of S like that. And then for training purposes, you could do a dotted line that goes like that, one point to the other. And from inside up here, you can curve around like so, and from inside down here you can curve around like so. This is still review, but I think it's important review. Okay, and so what I want you to know from there is we worked on this last class. Now what I want you to try is something where you go like, don't stop. So here, let's do a dotted line. You can do dashes, but just make a line one way or another. Okay. I made that, it's about 2.5 inches. We'll call it, I'm going to make it like about a 3-inch line. Okay. And then start like making an S. Oh my God, why did I give myself so many? Do fewer than this. I'm giving myself too much work here. But you could start like that and then do the same thing where you come around. You don't go quite all the way in a circle because now you're going to go from here and come around, and actually now you can go all the way there and here like so, and like so, and like so. That's okay. Justice is here, everyone. Say hi, Justice.
Hi.
Okay, yeah. So now you have it like that, and I would recommend only doing a couple of rungs there. And now you can just finish it. So, imply the rest of the chain going up like that. That's the next thing we're going to build out. How are we looking on time here? Okay, halfway through the class. Great. Thank you all for being here. This is great. Okay, so the next thing, everyone doing good on that? I hope you're doing good on that. The marker I'm using is the Micron Pigma 10, and the other one that I recommend for more casual drawing is the Uniball Vision Micro. These are my favoriteest pens. Wow, thank you for all those follows. That's rad. So nice to have you all here again, newcomers, and my true blues. Okay, so there. Now you have that chain that we made, right? And what I'd like to do, one other thing is, let's see, how can I do this? Just to take it one more step, let's try and go a half circle like this. And then from inside of there, a half circle like that. So we're kind of breaking up that S that we were doing before. But I want to just do, we'll just do like 4 of those, okay? And then I can echo that line, echo that line, and have this one come around. It's going to be nearly a full oval, and have this one come around and be nearly a full oval. And that's just to get you trained on thinking about the space, if you were going to draw chains like this, to get you thinking about the space between the links on the chain. This is like fundamental, really useful thinking stuff for cartoons. You draw Hulk every week? Awesome. I don't draw Hulk that often, but I draw Spider-Man almost every day. Okay. Does that seem good? Make sense? Okay, cool. What I'd like to do now is take a suggestion of a character, sort of a classic cartoon character, someone basic, a Mickey Mouse, a Sonic, a Garfield, and I want to draw them for you and talk about how I draw them. Handsome Squidward, really good. Mickey Mouse, Garfield, Elmo, Daffy Duck, Elmo, Bugs Bunny. I'm seeing a number of Elmos. I'm seeing a number of Bugs Bunnies, Superman, Grumpy, Elmo. I'm seeing Elmo. I see a Ninja Turtle, but we did it last week. Okay, Elmo, Mickey Mouse, SpongeBob, Stewie, Batman, Mickey. I see Elmo. Let's do Mickey. Let's just go for. I know I said it, so it's a little bit. It feels a little bit like cheating, but let's just look at it. Okay, so just to get at it. I'd say let's go for like classic Steamboat Willie. And I'm going to draw him fast, and then I'm going to talk about how I drew him, and we're going to go slower through it, all right? Just to have a reference image. So just to get started. Maybe this is technically not Mickey Mouse. Maybe this is technically Steamboat Willie. Are they distinct characters? You tell me. I would like to see a Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers sequel where they deal with questions like that, which is the authentic version of a character. I think that's rich content to delve into. Okay, and just because I think it helps, I don't know if I've said that to you in class. I know I say it in streams sometimes, but the reason I fill in is big, dark contrast areas, big areas where you fill in the dark, the black, really makes, especially if you're drawing black and white cartoons, this makes it really pop. It's harder if you have a thinner pen. But when I was growing up, if I was doing this, I would use a thinner pen for the lines and then get a marker, maybe a Sharpie or a black Crayola marker, and fill in whatever you have that you can do. I think it's a really nice touch to fill in the black. I'm drawing him fast right now because I just want to have a reference image. Boy, time is flying on this class today. Oh my God, and the pen is absolutely choking right now. Let's try a different one. Ooh, also a dead one. I kill these pens fast. Sorry for the violent language. I mean, I run them dry. I know, you didn't come to class to see me color in, but here we are. That's what we're doing. Okay, so now here's your reference image. And if you weren't drawing along with him, sorry, I was slightly off camera there. If you weren't drawing along with me then, which I didn't ask you to, and you didn't have to, but I'm sure somebody was. There seems to always, somebody's always drawing along, it seems. Okay, so there's your Steamboat Willie, right? Why did I draw him how I drew him? Let's talk about it. All right, the first thing I drew was his nose. And if you're drawing along, now's a great time to draw along. I'll probably do little touch-ups on him while I go. All these white spots, I know that bother some people. The first thing I drew was the nose. The first thing I drew was the nose because when I look at this, I see interrupted lines, all right? This line of the nose ends on the nose, or the snout ends on the nose. This line ends on the nose. So I want to put something that is unbroken, that's kind of going to anchor my whole piece. So the reason I draw the nose first is it's something that I can draw and it's complete in and of itself. because I basically use that to build off of. When I look, so I'm going to draw not from my reference image off the computer, but to try and recreate this same drawing that I've done up above. So when I look at it, I see that should be a pretty easy line to draw. It's effectively an S backwards. So I know I can go like that. I'm always just breaking down what is the next single line I can do. And that's all I focus on. So I say, where do I start that line and where does it end? Okay, this line curves back like that. I'm gonna have to ballpark it, but now that I have this other line, I can kind of compare. I'm not thinking all these words literally when I draw, but I am on some level. These are the estimations I'm making. I'm saying, okay, I look at this and that relationship. I think I got it pretty good down here, but now I know that the next line I draw is gonna start like halfway through the nose and go further back. I kind of am looking at this relationship, right? Because this spot is where I'm aiming. So now when I start here, I'm going to go, I see that it comes down and I'm kind of using, I kind of choked there a little bit, but I'm using the curve of the upper part to compare down there. And so then that's the curve I'm making down here. You can do better than that, I promise. Now I know the next curve I want to do is the curve that defines the bottom lip, and I see it attaches there. I'm kind of visualizing that that's where I'm going to end up. I know I'm starting here, and I can come down like that. Now for the back jaw, I see that it's going to end up right there. The whole process is just looking where the next line is. I'm working from a reference image, and that's okay. I'm going to come like that and swing back around and aim like there. Okay? Now we get into this area where I have the next longest line that I see that I can do that builds off of what I already have is I could come up here and do the eyes or the lines around the eyes, but those lines, these lines, are really fit inside of the shape of his head. So I look at the drawing and I think, okay, it starts there, right there. And the circle doesn't go all the way around here, but if it did, it would kind of complete a circle there. So now I know I can start here and come back like that. All right, nicely here. We get a chance to practice our circle, but we don't have to do a perfect circle. We just have to land it there. So I know I'm starting here, I'm going there, and I kind of look at the angles. So now I'm gonna go out and back around. It's not exact, that's okay. Cartoons are forgiving. Now I see this line comes right off the side there, and this is a pretty specific curve. It's kind of related to this curve. So when I come out here, I want to, part of me wants to, you could do it straight out of there. Part of me wants to kind of curve it around. So you could actually kind of go like that and out like that. I'm looking at how it fits into the shape of the head. This one was a little bit closer to the edge, but so be it. All right, let's go for, I can't draw the other ear yet, so I look where that is. I know this is slow going, and it's maybe seems obvious, but the reason I'm describing it like this is what's going on in my head at a very quick rate. These are the comparisons I'm making. I'm really trying to slow it down to explain my thought process to you. And then around like that, right? I see that it should start there and come around there, so I can kind of make that decision. This one's going to start here and end here and be basically about half of a circle, so I can kind of go like that. And obviously going back to that same old thing where we're really implying the rest of his ear, right? Always implying things are behind other things. And then we're almost home free. These eyes are pretty close in shape and size to the nose. It's worth noticing that. It's worth comparing those sizes. And then the tongue is going to be a curve. We'll start it from looking there, start it from there, and then this one, start it from there. Okay, so that's how I think about drawing Steamboat Willie. Your homework is to do, oh, by the way, you don't have to do homework. You don't have to draw with me. You don't have to do anything. If you do draw along and you want to get credit for this course, and by credit for this course, I mean a personalized certificate that I will make at the end of the class for anyone who turns in 75% of the homework assignments. At any point, you can catch up. If somebody tunes in for the last class and decides they want to do 75% of the homework, which I'll make possible, I'm happy to give a certificate to somebody who does all of the homework on the last day of class. Here's your homework if you want to do it. I want to see a self-portrait as a cartoon. Here's me as a cartoon. This is how I've been drawing myself. Well, actually, how I used to draw myself was like this. This is how I drew myself for the longest time until a few years ago where I had to change it to this. You know, big changes. Life comes at you, and you wind up with a beard. But I want to see your cartoon self-portrait. And the main thing that you're going to do is decide what kind of eyes that you want to have. You have, right, Simpsons eyes. You have more Adventure Time eyes, like I drew up here. You could do, I really like eyes like this. I think this is a great type of eye to start with if you're just getting started drawing. Or you could do like full-on anime eyes if you so choose. However you want to draw yourself, I am into it. What I want to see is a finished drawing of yourself as a cartoon for homework. Again, in case you missed it, there is, if you go to cartoonray.com, which I actually just updated, but if you go to cartoonray.com and then click on the link that says Cartoon Academy, you can upload your homework there to a Dropbox folder, and that's how I'll keep track. And let's see, what else? I think that's pretty much what I have. Pick your eyes, draw yourself as a cartoon, and then when you're drawing yourself as a cartoon, think about what the longest lines are. For most people, the longest line is the line of the chin that starts at the hair and comes around to the other side, whether that's that shape, or I am perfectly happy if you draw yourself as a square or a perfect circle, but I just want to see, you think about what the big shape of the jawline is. Hair is going to be special and custom if you have curly hair, if you have a Butters type of haircut. If you have longer hair, you may have to think about, how do you depict hair coming down? Think about it. I'm not trying to overcommit you. You don't have to draw yourself like this for the rest of your life. And then this is just a rough draft, and it's your first cartoon self-portrait in this class, but it's not your last. And so that's your homework. Homework assignment 3 is draw yourself as a cartoon character and submit it to the Dropbox in my class. Okay, so hi, thank you. That was a class.